Hello and welcome to another tropical update from Cayman Hurricane Center. I'm Adam McDoom, and this tropical update is actually a three-part update. First update, we'll be discussing about Tropical Storm Gert, and then the other two updates, we'll be discussing about the new tropical threats out there in the Atlantic, and as well as on the third update on the hurricane season forecast for the rest of the season. So let's get right onto it. Here on part one, we're talking about Tropical Storm Gert. This was originally Tropical Depression number 8 this morning, and as you remember, over the past week and plus, we've been talking about Infest Area 99L out in the main development region, came off of Africa and was just chugging its way along. And as you remember, I did state before that with this system, it was pretty large and that it'll take a while to really organize and develop. And it took its very precious time and didn't get going till it was just off of the Bahamas. So here we are, Tropical Storm Gert, short for Gertrude, currently located, or as the 5 p.m. advisory, located at 28.1 north, 71.7 west, or about 505 miles west-southwest of Bermuda. Maximum winds are going at about 40 miles per hour. Its present movement is north-northwest at 10, with a minimum pressure of 1,011 millibars. The storm has really gotten its act together. It before was having some issues with outflow and the circulation. Even though that it was there for a good couple days, it was not closed and it was still sort of broad. But as you can see here on the satellite imagery, definitely an organizing tropical system. The center circulation, again, now about an hour or so after the advisory, more or less located generally in this area here. And of course, you could definitely see the banding that is taking place in the system and outflow on pretty much almost all around the system. Now, a little bit of shearing on the northwest side, but overall very light shear, or I should say relatively light shear, and decent outflow for the system. It is expected to continue to off towards the north-northwest, eventually turning north and northeast, putting itself between Bermuda and the Outer Banks of the Carolinas. You can already see here Bermuda already starting to enter the satellite imagery here, and obviously the northwestern Bahamas along here. And so this should continue to track so and in between the two areas of Bermuda and the Outer Banks of the Carolinas. So here we are, the forecast cone for the area, and so here is Tropical Storm Gert. Here's Bermuda, and here's the Outer Banks of the Carolinas, also South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, just to get your bearings. The Canadian Maritimes along here. And so it is expected to make somewhat of a closer approach to the Canadian Maritimes. Some of the models do have it probably tracking as such. Either way, probably be transitioning out from tropical to post-tropical, or actually tropical by that time. Anyway, this thing is expected to increase. As I've mentioned, it's 40 miles per hour. It is expected to increase to about 65, potentially getting slightly bit stronger before it then transitions and then heads off into the northern Atlantic. The longer range forecast for this does take it towards the UK, but likely to miss the northwestern United Kingdom. So Northern Ireland and Scotland will probably get some maybe squally-ish weather and some large swells, but that's pretty much it for this system. So again, not too much of a threat towards Bermuda or to the United States. The only threat that may be there is for higher swells along the coastal areas here and here across the East Coast and Bermuda. And of course, with these larger swells, at times you can run the risk of riptides occurring. So if you are going out to the beaches, would caution you going out there, keep an eye on those riptides, and better if you just sit back on the beach and relax it and not necessarily have too much time in the water. But either way, this thing's supposed to pull out by about midweek. It should be right about moving away and shouldn't be much of an issue. Already the East Coast is having enough issues with this sort of stalled out frontal boundary along here, causing tremendous amount of flooding across the East Coast and South Coast, especially the Southeast. Definitely some big troubles there in Louisiana, and I know that in a few parts of Florida, Georgia as well, some issues there too. So this is definitely going to stay away from those areas, and lucky for them. So that is this short update on Tropical Storm Gert. Just repeating the 5 p.m. advisory before we close off. Location 28.1 north, 71.7 west, or about 505 miles west-southwest of Bermuda. It has max winds sustained about 40 miles per hour. Present movement north-northwest at 10. Minimum pressure 1011. Again, it is expected to intensify to about a 65 mile an hour or a mid to strong range tropical storm before transitioning out and heading off to the North Atlantic. So yep, that would be it on Tropical Storm Gert. Come and check back with me straight after this video or a few minutes after, and we'll be discussing on our next tropical threat. And this tropical threat, definitely something that the Caribbean and United States should be keeping an eye on. So stay tuned for that.